Welcome to Bloodbath & Beyond. Today we review the neo-Nazi thriller, Green Room.
Written and directed by Jeremy Saulnier, starring Alia Shawkat, Anton Yelchin, and Patrick Stewart. Green Room is about a punk rock band who's just struggling to find gigs. They end up at a neo-Nazi bar and walk into a room and saw something they shouldn't have. So what did we like?
I really enjoyed the story in this film. The tension that was built from beginning to end was very intense because you'd think going into this, they're a band trapped in one room, and what could they possibly do? But they utilized the location to create a very suspenseful story, and I liked that.
Something I noticed is that everyone I thought was genuine. There was no one did something where it's like, oh, why'd you do that? Like typical horror fashion. It was all, they panicked and they did something that normal people would when they didn't know what was actually happening.
Some decisions are probably not the best, but it's logical in that situation. These people are basically stuck in a room for most of the movie, and they're trying to get out. They're trying to escape this Nazi camp. Without spoiling too much, it gets a little crazy, and a lot of fucked up shit happens, and it's shocking at times.
And with the characters who die in this film, it wasn't just like one-off filler characters. They developed them, and we got to know like not only the band members, but also the neo-Nazis who run the bar. So when a character is killed in this movie, you kind of feel for them, and you feel for the people around them.
Everyone felt like they were on the same plane, which was really nice because you're not necessarily rooting for the bad guys, but you're also not really rooting for the good guys either because they're kind of dicks. There wasn't somebody that you were supposed to be rooting for. It was just kind of, here are the people, you know their backstories, you know what's going on, and now let's see what happens. That said, even when it came to the acting, I felt like everybody was also on the same level. Nobody had like big standout moments, including Patrick Stewart, which was super surprising considering he's a big name that you don't often see in indie movies like this. He didn't have like a standout scene. Well, everyone was pretty equal.
The bad guys, who you think are the bad guys, like the ones running the club, the first 30 minutes of the movie, they're being strangely polite. And like, you're starting to feel for them. Like Big Justin's in the room as a security guard, and like, he's the one being held hostage, and you're like, do I feel bad for him? Or am I supposed to feel bad for the band members who have him captive? Like, it keeps you guessing and trying to figure out who really is at fault here. I mean, we know who really is at fault, but they throw some curveballs at you.
Overall, all the performances by these actors was great. I must say specifically, Anton Yelchin's performance stood out. His character was a good contrast compared to all the other characters. They were all jumping to conclusions and just wanting to get the next thing done, where he was like, wait a minute, guys. Let's think about this for a second before we react too quickly.
The rest of the band is just very intense, whereas like Anton Yelchin's character was more of a reserved, calm, and collective type of person, which was very different for the scene that they were in, considering they were in like this hard punk rock group.
Moving on to the technical side of things, the production quality of this film was fantastic. All of the cinematography was great. We had amazing sound design and great instances of the lack of a soundtrack at very intense moments. And surprisingly, some crazy practical effects. We touched on the deaths a little earlier, but once these deaths actually happen, they're like, some of them are really disgusting and you're just gonna like be cringing.
I want the audience to be a little confused. I want them to be shocked and not roaring and clapping. I want them to feel the impact.
All of a sudden, someone would just get ripped in half and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? And holy crap, that's really gory. So that's what we liked. Now, what didn't we like?
Now, in general, we liked this movie, so anything that we say right now is gonna be a little bit nitpicky, but considering that these people are in a room, in a bar, owned by a bunch of Nazis, I find it really hard to believe that they couldn't just storm in and kill a few kids.
Now it's time for our final thoughts and ratings. I really enjoyed Green Room. I thought the acting was spectacular. I thought the story was really well done. I really enjoyed how they went through every single character and slowly rolled out the story and built the background and like the world that we're living in. And I thought it was very fleshed out and they thought of all the different scenarios. I thought they did a great job casting this film. No one was really a standout character other than Patrick Stewart, so we didn't really have any other movies to like put them in to take them out of this movie. So I really enjoyed it and I want to see it again to see what I missed. So with all that said, I'm gonna have to give this 5 Mohawks out of 5.
Green Room was a well-acted, well-shot, and well-paced movie. I didn't know what was happening, And I'm so glad that I went into this movie blind. It had a really slow building tension that had a fantastic payoff and really caught me off guard at times. The production value was stellar, and overall it's just one of those movies that I highly recommend you go out and watch and don't look into any more than this review. Don't go read any other synopsis, just go watch the movie. So that being said, I'm gonna give this 4.5 cartridges out of 5.
Green Room was a very well done film. I enjoyed the story from beginning to end. I thought the characters were well developed. It had me liking everyone, even some of the bad guys, and hating some of our protagonists in the band. The film overall is something I highly recommend. So with that being said, I'm gonna give this 5 red laces out of 5.
As always, thank you for watching. Like this video and comment below with your thoughts on Green Room. If you haven't seen it yet, go and watch it. And if you like this review, make sure you give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything Bloodbath and beyond.